Hey. So I've been noticing I've been doing this thing lately, particularly in relation to when I'm starting to feel shit about something about myself, right? Or having doubts about my capacity with something, is I go into this comparison space. I've been noticing it specifically, well, I notice it always around my creativity. Like when I'm feeling not connected to my creativity or not connected to my life work or not connected to anything, I just go on Instagram just to really like give myself a massive dose of just to really kind of re-embolden how shit I feel about myself. Like I basically go onto Instagram, I realize in hindsight, to look for proof of how much more effective and capable and creative and exciting other people are. And then I get off Instagram and feel 32% shitter than I was feeling before I went on Instagram. It's such a vibe. Anyway, I've noticed that it actually spreads into so many areas of my life, this comparison thing. And it's toxic. It's such a shit vibe. I do it with my kids. When my kids are in a great space and someone's like, your kids are so great, I'm like, oh, that's just them, you know? It's like, who knows how they turned out like that, you know? But then when they're like in a shit space, I don't even vaguely hear that. All I think is how other parents would be doing it so much better, how if my kids were being raised by by other parents rather than kids, like how I feel by other parents, that they would just be thriving so much more, and other parents are so much more equipped than I am, and then also that my kid is not thriving in the way that other people's kids are thriving. Like when I'm in that space, even someone like talking happily about their child can just be a trigger for me to feel like, oh my God, I need to go home and get my kid to do more, or like I'm not doing enough, or I'm just not. It is so debilitating. This comparison thing, right? And then the other day I was in this yoga class and the teacher was talking about comparison. And she said, when we move into a space of comparison, we actually move into a space of being competitive. We're actually pitching ourselves against others. We're saying, am I better than? They are better than. Are they better than or worse than me? Or like we're trying to like kind of grade ourselves against other people in our perceived or real peer group, right? Or in our perceived or real community. And we're kind of going, okay, if I perceive myself to be a little bit better than them and I can judge them for what they're doing, that gives me some kind of kickback. But if I see them as being better than me, then I get this bad feeling of like, I'm not enough. Either way, you're fucked, right? So, and then she said, but competitiveness leads to jealousy. And I was like, I'm just laying there in like just before Shavasana, just being like, okay, just keep speaking my life story there, babes. And she was like, yeah, and then jealousy, is the step right before loneliness. And it just kicked me in the guts of like this competitive thing that we do, this comparative thing we do, actually just makes us more lonely. Just makes me more lonely. Just makes me feel more isolated. Just makes me feel more disconnected and more like I have to stay quiet about how flawed I am. And in that space, I feel paralyzed, completely paralyzed. So this whole process, this whole default process that I move into when I'm feeling insecure about something that's really important to me, like my parenting, my children, my creativity, my friendships, even my health and well-being, all these things that are my relationship, like any one of those things can be a reason for me to look for proof that I'm not good enough. And the minute I start looking for proof that I'm not good enough, I guarantee I'm going to find it, and I guarantee I'm going to use that proof above all the other proof that I may have collected that, hey, you're doing all right, babes. You know what I mean? And just hearing this kind of put together by this yoga teacher as like comparison, competitiveness, jealousy, and then loneliness, it just really struck me of like this pathway between these two spaces, which is the last place I want to end up when I'm feeling insecure. When I'm feeling insecure, what I need is to be seeking support. But instead, the default actions that I kind of go into because I'm feeling insecure actually make me feel more isolated and more lonely, and that makes me feel more insecure. So yeah, it just really struck me. It just really struck me on this level of like, how many ways do I make myself lonely? How many ways am I making myself lonely? And yeah, it's like competitive versus community. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. We can talk about that. But this comparison thing has been coming up a lot for me because it's also like, it's debilitating. In that moment, I'm debilitated. In that moment where I get into a comparative space about where my kids are at or where something's happening with them, and I go into like, well, what's that kid doing? Or how's that parent dealing with it? Or what's that, like when I go into that, I don't have any sense of my kid anymore. I'm not actually tuning into where they're at. I'm not coming back to like my own sort of sense of what I know of them and what we've done so far and how far we've gotten. I'm not there. I'm just like in the panic space. I'm just in the panic space of like, oh, quick, I gotta fix it because I've broken it and oh my God, it's all wrong. But it's not about them anymore. It's not about making their experience better or more whole. It's actually just about trying to deal with my insecurity wound. So of course I'm not going to get better at parenting in that space because I'm not present to it anymore. So yeah, comparison as a doorway to loneliness and jealousy, and comparison as a doorway to actually to a lack of presence. Yeah. Not a good doorway. I'm going to try and keep that particular door shut. Thanks for listening. See ya.